told the person that he liked me, like he felt something and he was attracted and everything, but he was intimidated. Like I was too highly educated. Like that was the reason, that was the reason why he didn't pursue it. And I never heard from him again. There's a really high chance that he will ask you out because he really was interested in you during the whole date and everything. He went back home and then he had a thought about it and he decided that he's not going to pursue it because you're too accomplished for him. Men are intimidated by accomplished women, and that is the truth. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sandy Toe. Welcome to Date Right for Your Type. Today we'll talk about why is it so hard for highly educated and accomplished women to find partners. Okay, so remember last week we talked about you overcoming the obstacle of yourself, right? So now you're determined to find a partner and you're not going to care about what other people think and you're just gonna go out there, put your best self out there and try to find a partner that's suitable for you. Well, and then you encounter another difficulty. You think, well, okay, I have put myself out there. Actually, it's not that I've been totally passive over the years. I have, been open to introductions by family and friends, and I have put myself out there to meet other people, to go to events, and keep an open mind. But why is it that I just haven't found someone? I've dated, these guys, but nothing has materialized. Nothing significant has materialized. It's not that I've been, totally against it or anything, and I have been, quite open to finding someone. But why is it that so many years have gone by and I haven't found the partner of my dreams? I haven't found Mr. Right. So is it because I have been doing something wrong? Is it because of, I'm not dressed up enough or, going on dates, why the dates have not turned into something significant? How come the men that have gone out with me have not pursued like a relationship after, one or more dates? Is it because of me? Is something wrong that I said? Or there was broccoli in my teeth the whole time and I didn't know until the end of the date, and I took out my phone to take a selfie, and then there it is. I saw a piece of horrendous green vegetable stuck between my teeth. And it's already too late because it's the end of the date. That means that I have had that piece of broccoli wedged between my teeth for the whole entire conversation, for the whole entire hour, and I didn't know. So right, next time it is good to sometimes stealthily check your reflection in the back of a spoon. Yeah, if you don't want to take out a mirror and you don't want to go to the bathroom, then I think a good tactic is actually to check your reflection stealthily on the back of a spoon. Sometimes that helps, and sometimes maybe the restaurant has mirrors. Okay, so if that is what you are worried about, then the chances are it's not that high of a chance that it is because of that piece of broccoli that your date went south. Or you thought it went well, the conversation was quite good, nothing wrong with it, or there was no broccoli between the teeth or anything, but for some reason he didn't pursue it. There was no follow-up, or it just faded off, maybe a few texts and then things just faded. In a nutshell, there was no significant relationship that resulted in a date that you thought went quite well. Okay, so we're not talking about terrible dates where that there was no conversation, or you just know that you had no compatibility and you didn't want to pursue it. You wouldn't want to pursue it either if it's someone who's completely off your grid, something that someone who's completely not your cup of tea, you know it, right? There's like zero chemistry and zero bonding. You just like you're the one who doesn't want to pursue it, right? Not him. But um, there are some times when it happens that the date is quite good, like there's chemistry, you can feel it, right? You're looking into each other's eyes, even you don't know each other, but sometimes there's this sizzling thing going on. You know the chemical reaction when you see it, right? And the conversation flowed quite smoothly. It wasn't terrible, and you got the vibe that you two were clicking, and you were like absolutely sure. If not 100%, you were 89% sure that this guy is gonna text you because you did exchange numbers, right? He wasn't too shy to ask for your number, or he actually had your number in the first place. You guys probably texted a little because maybe like someone introduced you to him, or you met online and you guys texted for a bit before coming out. So, everything was like flowing quite smoothly. And you were 89% sure that he's gonna pursue it, he's gonna ask you out again. And or even maybe you took the initiative and you texted him and you said, oh, I had a great time and I would love to go out again. Or maybe you talked about a topic like you wanted to watch a movie and you said, oh, I know that this movie is on and it would be so great if we can go watch it on a Friday night or something. Just casually hinting, giving him like the opening up the opportunity for him to come in and ask you out, right? But then no reply, or it just fizzled from there. He's not enthusiastic. Like it just doesn't seem like he's enthusiastic to ask you out again, or he's saying he's quite busy, or I don't know, or you got ghosted, or it just like totally went south, right? So and then you start to question, oh, is it because he met someone, or is it something I said, or did I misread the signs? Okay, like that's one common thing, that you would think that you misread the signs that your date went well, but actually it did not, right? So maybe you're thinking, oh, maybe I dreamt it all up, because it's not like in a reality show where there's cameras and you can go back and watch the video footage, or your dating coach secretly filmed you and then told you your cues, like your cues with your partner, see if you guys actually had attraction by your body language, right? So it's not like you can revisit the footage and see if you made a mistake, right? So you immediately think that you had made a mistake, that there was no attraction, and that you have misinterpreted his politeness as interest, right? So the 89% was actually only 52, right? 52% that he would ask you out again, and it didn't happen. So didn't happen at all. So you would immediately think that it's because you were deluded enough to think that he was interested, and that is why it didn't go forward. Okay, so don't be so disillusioned now, because it's not your fault. The chances are that you were right. You were right in your 89%, that he is likely to ask you out. There's a really high chance that he will ask you out because he really was interested in you during the whole date and everything. And the sexual chemistry, or the bonding, the affinity, everything was true. You weren't dreaming that up, girl. Okay, so don't think that you're deluded or something, because it did happen. Except the problem was that after he thought about it, he went back, he was enthusiastic about this girl who's super intelligent and super accomplished and so fabulous. He went back home and then he had a thought about it, and he decided that he's not going to pursue it because you're too accomplished for him. Yeah, so let me tell you the inconvenient truth. men are intimidated by accomplished women, and that is the truth. So you may argue about essentialism, about categorizing people into certain boxes or giving them certain traits just because they're a certain gender, that they're born into certain traits. And that is like very generalizing, and not everyone is like that, right? And there are a lot of new men out there who have like more feminine sensitivities and are accepting of smart women, and who like, accomplished women. Okay, so we're talking about the majority here, okay? So I'm sure there's exceptions to anything, right? There are alternatives to the norm. That's what, sociologists, anthropologists, we're constantly looking for that. We're constantly trying to search for alternatives, trying to look for the unsaid sort of truths behind the norm, right? So, but the thing is, norm, right? So there is a norm for anything. There would have to be a norm in order for alternatives to take place, right? So you have to have like certain benchmarks for everything. And I can tell you that the majority of men are intimidated by highly accomplished women. Even the most elevated new man, I think that they would still harbor the desire to be with a woman who is inferior to them, so they can take the lead for once. Okay, so yes, harboring this secret desire does not mean they'll act upon it. But the thing is, you know what? A lot of men, they actually would sort of make it clear that they are not really into highly successful women. Yeah, well, that is just how they are made. Like by nature, because, in the past, throughout history, men had taken the lead, right? They were the ones who were out there to gather and out there to earn the money, to bring back the food, while the women were the ones who were the nurturing, they would take care of family stuff, take care of the home, and they were just not out there to bring back the dough, okay? So it's men that, had to do these things, had to be the breadwinner in the past, because it was just not women's domain. So men, you can say that they are sort of conditioned to do these sort of things. But given the times having changed, there are more women university graduates than men in most parts of the world nowadays. And that is a fact. That is like the reality nowadays. But the culture just has not kept up with it. Okay, so this is not anyone's fault. Okay, let's just say that men had been conditioned to take the lead, to be the strong ones, to bring back the money, okay? So, but given like how women are highly educated, and women, if given the chance to be educated, are excelling, they're excelling in the classes, excelling in academia, excelling everywhere. Well, they're very, focused in their work, and they're just, really smart and stuff. So as smart as men, you would say, in some areas. So given like today's culture, men, they're not used to this change, and they're still sort of conditioned to think that they're the stronger and dominant ones. And so when faced with a woman with these traits, okay, so when faced with women who are strong and intelligent in their fields, and can do as well as them, they feel threatened. And that is, that's the reality of it. And that is why, after all of your dates that you felt went quite well and you had the mutual attraction, the man just went back and he decided to not pursue it because he just cannot handle it. Okay, maybe he thought he could, because initially, like, you did have nice banter, did have good conversation, But, you've given him like 24 hours, like after mulling it over for like 24 hours, 48 hours. He just decided that he would rather be with someone who is less accomplished. Maybe not less accomplished by him per se, because it's hard to have like a measurement of that. Maybe you guys aren't in the same field. It's not that you're his boss or something under the same company or something. So maybe you're in different fields, but he just feels that he would be much more comfortable dating someone who is further from him in terms of achievement. Then, it's easier to for him to stay on top like forever, So, but if you're already here, okay, imagine, or if you guys are here, like on the same level, okay. What happens? What happens if this is you, right? What happens if you become like this one day? What will he think, right? So he is just not comfortable having to, look up to there because it's just not in his nature. All right. Like I had talked to a woman who works as a senior manager in a technology plant, something like Google, okay? Like so imagine a senior manager at Google. So she has like so many male software engineers surrounding her every day. And it's like such a male-dominated vicinity, because I've been there. I went all the way to that plant to visit her and to have lunch and to talk and to spend the day at work with her. And I just I saw like she was surrounded by these like male software engineers the whole day. There was, I think, the ratio of like 9-1 or 8-2 in terms of male versus female. There's like virtually no women there. Okay, so yes, surrounded by hot nerds like the whole day. But it's so unfortunate because she told me that, okay, first of all, she's 31 and she's single and she has never dated anyone in the company. And she spends 10 hours in that company. And that company is like, it's in the suburbs. It's like a plant isolated from the city, right? You have to at least travel 40 minutes by metro all the way there. Okay, so you're stuck in this stuck for 10 hours in this male infested vicinity for 10 hours or more each day. You have even dinner there. Like they have a canteen. It's like Google, as I said. Like you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. Okay, so surrounded by these hot nerds, but having nothing to do with you, right? That is quite sad, okay? Because her secretary, she told me specifically that her secretary came here to work for her for a week, and within the week, she had already met someone. She was snapped up by a male engineer, and within 6 months, they got married. Okay, so imagine if you were her, right? If your secretary did that, like had met the man of her dreams right under your nose, while you were just stuck there, looking at the hot nerds that have nothing to do with you, right? So how would you feel? Yeah, I feel for her. Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it is like so tragic, right? It reminds me a bit like of Ally McBeal, right? If you've watched the show, she works with like her ex-boyfriends and his wife alongside like every single day. So it reminds me a little bit of that when this woman, like surrounded by hot nerds that she can't touch, and her secretary like snaps up one of them, and another probably gets married, probably doesn't work, and then another woman comes by and snaps up another one under her nose, and she has nothing to do with it. It's like not a part of her life. It's like not something she can consider. Okay, given her her status in the company. And so she's like, yeah, it's quite sad because I have nothing to do with that at all. I can never find anyone. No one wants to date above themselves or even within the same level. Like she has colleagues that are not necessarily under her, although she is above many, but she has like same tier colleagues, male colleagues. Some of them may be married, okay, at 30, but even the single ones, they would rather date below, okay? So men would rather undermarry, meaning they would like to retain their dominance and they want to be seen as the strong and superior one. So they would rather find a woman who is inferior to them in terms of career, in terms of social status, in terms of financial achievement, right? So the men, they want to retain their status as the higher earners so that they could dominate. Okay, so that is why probably that is a really big reason why you did not find the partner of your dreams these many, many years. And all your dates that you thought you had 89% sure success rate was not successful, okay? Because the men, they just went back and they had a thought and they probably couldn't handle the fact that you are already so high achieving. They don't want to, have a day that they have to look up, to see you. They don't want to like struggle to come to terms with the fact that one day you may be the more successful one. It's just not what they're accustomed to and they don't want to see. And that is why men would choose not to date highly successful women. Okay, one story I could also share about myself was that once I had a blind date with a guy I've never met. Okay, it's someone introduced to me by a family friend, and so there's this place close to my work. I was working at university. I was a lecturer at university then, and so like we devised a place like through messaging that was like near my school, right, my university. And then I remember that, we sat down, and that guy is also from an Ivy League. Like I'm from Cambridge, and that guy's from an Ivy League school in the U.S. And I remember, we sat down, and then we talked and stuff, and it was okay. Like it wasn't like super good conversation, but it was normal. Nothing went wrong, I think. It wasn't awkward, for one. I didn't think it was awkward. It was just like normal, very cordial. And then the guy would actually make these statements like, you're very busy at work. You're busy lecturing, and that's why I found a place that's near like your school, because the guy works for a family business, so he's more flexible in terms of travel. Like he doesn't have classes he has to go to and stuff, so he's more flexible in his traveling, so he can come to find me. And he said, "Oh, but you're very busy in your work." And then he said, "Oh, you have a PhD at Cambridge, and I went to this university in the U.S., like this Ivy League university, and I had contemplated getting like a higher degree too, a higher postgraduate degree too. But it just turned out that it didn't happen, something like that, right? So I think that he's trying to justify the facts of why I have a PhD and he doesn't. It's not that he can't get it. He had contemplated getting it, and he went to this fabulous school too, not below mine, but he just chose not to pursue a higher postgraduate degree, and it was his choice, not because of his ability. So I had the feeling that was that, and I was slightly uncomfortable, but it was fine. I think like for this date, it was me who didn't, he didn't feel the vibe, uh, didn't have the feel, right? So I didn't pursue it, okay? And back then, I was like super busy with my lectures. I had like no time. My book, I had to write my book, so I had like no time for this at all, okay? So okay, my bad. But anyway, there was another time where I went to like this social gathering with a bunch of people. It wasn't me and this guy, but there was like a bunch of people. There was like girls and boys and stuff. And there was like maybe like a couple and some singles, right? So there was like a single guy who was, later on, I found out that he was for me, right? So he was like the one who people had wanted to introduce to me, right, discreetly. So it was not like a single like date by ourselves, right? So it was like a social gathering, but somehow he and I would end up chatting, and he was the one who's always sitting next to me, right? So we chatted and stuff, and it went well. I think there was some chemistry. There was more to this one than the Ivy League one. Okay, there was more chemistry to this one. It was more fun, right? So it was more fun, and we went to like watch a movie and dinner with a bunch of people, and it was nice. And I sort of got the feeling that this guy would contact me on social media somehow, and he does know about my background and stuff. So I had a feeling that it could work out. Maybe like we could date or something. And then I didn't hear from him again after a long time, and then I found out from someone else that this guy told the person that he liked me, like he felt something and he was attracted and everything, but he was intimidated. Like that was what he said. He said that I was too highly educated. Like I had a PhD and I was a lecturer at university, and that was the reason. That was the reason why he didn't pursue it, and I never heard from him again. Right? So that's like firsthand experience from myself that this could happen, and it was fortunate that I did hear of the main reason why, and I could really reflect upon it and have a thought about whose fault is it that things went that way? Was it mine? Was it him? Was it society? Whose fault was it? And there is actually no answer to this question, okay? But there are some things we can do to circumvent this sort of discrimination, okay? So I would deem this discrimination from men, like discrimination of highly accomplished women from men, okay? There are ways to circumvent this issue, to make your love lives smoother and to prevent this sort of situation from going on and in a vicious cycle, and you never getting dates, you being attracted, you going on a good date, but then and you being 89% sure you're going to get another date. This will manifest into a relationship of your dreams, but not, right? So you don't have to be so like worried anymore or so doubtful of yourself, because now we have an answer to this, okay? So the question is, what way can we, what methods can we apply, to circumvent this issue? And this is something that we'll tackle in the next episode, okay? So stay tuned, where next week we'll talk more about, how to fight this discrimination and how to finally, get the guy of our dreams without being discriminated against for our accomplishments. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. If you like what you hear, hit subscribe and give us your 5 stars. Hey, let's go discuss more on Instagram. I can't wait to hear what you think.